Hey guys, we are live for episode 120 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. This is the pre-show. So we're still working on getting stuff set up. Jared typically hosts this, and Jared is no longer with us tonight. So
He's with me.
yeah, kind of. So
Yeah.
thoughts and prayers for Jared and Jared's family.
The whole family.
It's hotter than the devil here in Kentucky right now.
Oh man, it's real sunny here.
I mean, it's like 88 temperature, but like 200% humidity. So it's like it's like swamp filling.
I was gonna say,
so
you feel like you're in a gator pit, like a gator's armpit. Just
yeah,
it's pretty gross.
or underneath a large person's belly or something, kind of just like nestled up in there.
In the fold, just in.
Yeah. Yep.
Sheesh. Yeah,
That
that's not good, man.
Yeah. I agree. It's not good. So I'm sorry if we're not as pretty as we are when Jared's here. I think Jared has like really nice like windows cut out and stuff like that, but
He does, yeah.
probably pull the rundown out. We're gonna have a little, since Jared's on vacation, we are gonna have a little bit shorter of an episode.
Yeah, they helped us out with the twid on that one.
Yes, they did.
But they also released a mid-season weapon tuning, which isn't super long, so that'll take up the brunt to that.
So I'm looking at our rundown here, which is like a shared document. And did you do this part? The weapon tuning?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, I did it.
Oh, in the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, oh, hell yeah. So that's great for me because I read everything. So I was just going to have a window open. I spent entirely too long on the thumbnail this week.
It was needed.
Yeah.
It needed to be done.
Yeah. Did you do anything cool for Independence Day?
I played games and wished it was Wednesday so I could hang out with my boy Mr. Jared, who's not here.
Yeah.
The roomies left, so I got to game in my chonies. That's Spanish for underwear.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Very nice. But it was nice.
I always kind of thought of you as more of a commando guy. So.
Nah, I gotta have support. Once you get older, you need that support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I'm packing. It's just because things droop after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, gravity.
Gravity wins every time.
Mm-hmm. Gravity is undefeated.
Holy moly. Yeah. Oof.
All right. So swift rundown here. Do you have the YouTube pulled up to see if it looks okay and all that?
Refresh the page here so I can whip it up.
They're looking like mid-season weapon. Okay. Then we got Twid. We're going to have 2 likes and dislikes, I suppose, this week.
Put them right.
And then War. Do you have War this week?
I can do this. Yeah. I'm finishing off the seasonal book.
Yeah. And then, okay. I'll pull mailbag questions whenever we get rolling. Don't forget
oh man.
You got squiggles? I see him, I think, on my screen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget we got to start and restart that part.
So we're doing weapon tuning, TWID. Did you want to do likes and dislikes?
Yeah.
Okay, likes and dislikes, no breakdown. Did you want to do GM notes or did you want to save it for when we actually beat it?
We'll save it.
Okay.
We'll save that, and then we'll save the gambling corner.
Okay. All right. So tuning, TWID, likes, dislikes, lore, mailbag. Cool. It works for me. Are you cracking open something?
Yeah, I got this giant bottle of Wild Turkey.
Holy moly.
This is the alcoholic size. So
Is that individual? Does it come with like the little straw taped to the back?
it's what's like a Capri Sun or something. No, so like the 750 mLs are like $30 a piece. This is the 1.75 and it's $49.99. So yeah, like
it's over twice as big, and it's
yeah, not even near half, not even near half the price. What you got to be careful
I
on.
mean, if you kill it, then all right.
What you have to be careful about is, you think like, oh, if the small bottle lasts me 2 weeks ish, this should last me like a month, easy. But you just start pouring bigger glasses because you don't realize that you're working your way down the bottle as you're like, oh, there's a ton left, and then and that's what some people refer to as alcoholism. So just be aware. Got my Dylan Mulvaney's here. My turkey's over here.
Oh, is it one of the rainbow bottles?
No, those.
I hear they're on sale in the red states.
I don't think those made it here to the Bible Belt.
Oh man, did you see the commercial they put out for 4th of July?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they put out a good one. I'll see if I can send it to you.
Okay.
Really
I thought
cool.
about eBay and one of those bottles. Just buying one, but I didn't.
Oh, if only I could send it to you.
Yeah,
I could find some down here.
That's probably all they have down there, isn't it? Or no?
Oh, it's cheaper for us.
Yeah. How much is like a 12-pack of Corona down there?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I haven't bought beer in, I don't know. How old are your kids? Probably all of them put together.
My daughter's 6. So.
Yeah, I haven't bought beer since
like a 6-pack of Corona maybe. Here is like $9.99. Sadly, here Corona is like a fancy beer. If you drink Corona, you know you're.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how much could a banana cost? Like $5 or $100? I don't know what it was.
What about Tree Fitty?
About Tree Fitty.
Don't get down my set of Tree Fitty. All right, you ready to click the button?
I mean, you're clicking the button, right?
Yeah, clicking it now. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 120 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is the 6th of July, and I am the Destiny bad boy, not Ryan Fox. And I have returned with one half of my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now, Chato Cerro.
We are missing a Mr. Jared, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. But excited to finish off a lore book and to get into it.
And make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget that you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications. yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us bunches friend requests so we can play together. The friend request and the clan list is looking a little empty these days, the 2 or 3 times a week that I'm kind of logging in. The links for those will be in our description. We got a mid-season weapon tuning update. We got a TWID. But before we get into that, let's listen to the intro music from everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at Link of Time G. That was 109, Chad.
And then what, 30 seconds for the
30, I think it's 33.
Oh, 142. I'm just trying to see if I can find a date on this mid-season patch, and they don't have one.
I think it came out yesterday.
You think it already came out?
Oh, no. Oh, I meant the article came out yesterday.
Yeah, the article came out yesterday, but they don't have a date.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was trying to give it a second. Okay.
You mean like a release date
for
that?
So. Yeah, for the patch, but they don't have one. So, yeah, that's fine.
I clicked it. Very cool, Link. Thank you. Chad, you want to get into this weapons tuning update with us?
All right. Yeah, I definitely. Yesterday morning, I was just kind of trolling the interwebs, and a little while later, all of a sudden, I saw a weapons tuning update. I was like, oh, sheesh. Okay, I forgot about this. But they put a little bit here. They note that they're going to do more next season as well. But we'll get right into this one here. So for the weapon archetypes, they're starting off with pulse rifles. They feel like they're in a good place, but with the low aim assist, like the high impact subfamily is too forgiving on misses. So they're reducing the aim assist cone, and so their note here is reduced auto aim angle at 0 aim assist stat by about 10%. So they're dropping that cone by 10%. So it's going to be, you got to be a little bit more precise on that particular subfamily of pulses. Moving on to bows, the lightweight bows that pretty much everybody's mostly forgotten about. People are liking the higher impact ones, or I think there's another frame that people have been using a lot more. But they feel like, let's see here, the feedback around them is centered on how much worse they feel than the precision archetype. So what they're doing is they're increasing the fixed damage fall off start distance from 15 to 25 meters. So damage doesn't start scaling down until you hit that 25 meter mark. And then the fixed fall off stops from 20 to 45 meters. So the range is now 25 to 45 meters is that damage starts to drop range instead of 15 to 20. So it's a really good amount of range where the damage drops off, and it doesn't drop off a cliff really fast like it used to. So that's going to be a good change. I think it's going to put them more on the radar for people. And then they also increase the final accuracy by about 10% on just those lightweights. So I'll have to see which bows have that. I'm pretty sure I have some in the vault, but I'll have to see which ones are really getting hit by that, because I'm excited to try it out and see if there's another bow type that I like.
The first time I read through this, I'm like, what are they talking about there? The least effective weapon. And then I was like, oh, lightweight bows. I was thinking of like Monarch, like the bow swap. Yeah. And I was like, do these people even play their own game? But anyways, once I reread it and quit being an idiot and saw what they were going for, it made much more sense. After that, they talk about submachine guns, specifically that with the new dynamic reticle, which does display information. I did kind of like it, but they said it was far too cluttered, made the weapon difficult to use in combat. I didn't really notice that, but I'm not playing at a competitive level in PvP, so I'm not really the target demo here with this, in my opinion. So they did another pass over the reticle, reducing the thickness, making it more like the opacity, so you can see through it, looking better. So basically, the Shayura's Wrath, the ADS dynamic reticle, was improved. Shotguns, lightweight shotguns, they are falling behind precision and aggressive. I think lightweight, I was never much fan. I was always more of a precision or aggressive guy myself, as opposed to the lightweight. So they have, in order to make them closer to the other ones in PvP. They did reduce the spread angle of the outer horizontal pellets. So basically, it's going to give you a tighter shot whenever you like a tighter shot package, more or less.
Yeah, less on that outer ring means less missing when you're on a target there. And that's good too, because yeah, like you, the precision or the aggressive are the only two I was ever really using, and slugs mostly for PVE, and then the aggressive for PvP if I ever did it, if I ever put my fusion rifles down, which happened occasionally if I had to. But that's it for the legendary stuff. They moved on to the exotic weapons that they're tuning, and I know one of these Jared's definitely excited about. I'm sure I'll hear about it next week or this weekend when he gets on. But the first one they talk about is Graviton Lance, and they like that it's coming back. They like that it's with all the new verbs and stuff that's coming out. It's starting to have people are starting to have more fun with it. But they feel that the cosmology explosions feel way too close to Cloud Strike for comfort in PvP specifically, and it can be pretty oppressive when it goes off. It's not like I guess I could see how it could be like a Cloud Strike. I haven't been hit in a group with it with the Graviton Lance explosions like I have with Cloud Strike. But I see where they're going with it here, and I do approve of these changes as well. So first thing that they did is they increased the damage in PvE by 67% to bring it more in line with Revision Zero's two burst mode, so it can feel more like that. They removed the extra aim assist provided by the catalyst, and they reduced the damage dealt by Cosmology Explosion by 40% against players. The damage in PvE is no different. So they increased that damage, the regular PvE damage, by 67%, giving it a huge boost in PvE and not hitting it, the Cosmology Explosions in PvE, except only in PvP. So those are changes that I can get jiggy with for sure.
Next, they talk about No Time to Explain. This gun kind of at times becomes the bane of my existence whenever I try to get into the Crucible. Like, I get so frustrated getting killed by it because I feel like it is it's way too good for how good you have to be to use it. At least if I get like 3 tapped with a hand cannon, I know they hit. I know that that person did a good job and they deserve it. But a lot of times I didn't feel like I would deserve to be killed. This is basically the TTK was too good in my opinion. So they said that No Time has been somewhat surpassed in effectiveness by the returning champion Graviton Lance. But given we are bringing Graviton Lance down a bit, we wanted to make sure No Time couldn't immediately reclaim the pulse rifle thrown too easily, so they reduced the range stat by 10. So hopefully that helps, because that would be the part that would be frustrating. Like, that gun was too good at too wide of a range of distance. So it was good up close, it was good at medium ranges, and it was really good at long ranges too. I think that's what made it most frustrating.
Yeah, bringing that down in line is definitely necessary. I've had plenty of games where I'm sitting there like, this guy keeps getting me, and it doesn't feel good. But Fighting Lion users rejoice. I know there's a whole subreddit out there that's going to be happy about this one. But they fixed a bug with the perk application that was preventing it from granting the benefit of its catalyst. So they fixed that issue with the Chimera perk. Not applying its buffs to kinetic and power slot weapons. So now it is going to apply to those, and it should, quote unquote, work correctly. Now they're making changes to perks. They're doing some stuff for Gutshot Straight. They initially made Slick Draw and Gutshot. They wanted to make sure they weren't giving out substantial positive effects that had almost a constant uptime for free. They leaned a little too hard on the penalties that made them feel more like a punishment than something that's worthwhile, so people weren't really using it. So what they did is they reduced the auto aim penalty by 37.5%. So it's not as much as of a drop off on that auto aim, so people can feel more inclined to use it. I know Gutshot was one of those ones where I ignored it completely. So if I do have any guns that have it, I'm going to try them out and see if it does make a difference for me personally. But it is good to see that they're trying to bring some of the perks that aren't improving or aren't being used at all up a little bit, just so people try them out and play with them in the Crucible and stuff like that. And then Slick Draw, they reduced the auto aim penalty by 33%. So those are the 2 changes they made to those in particular. So maybe people will start using them. We'll find out later, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think the problem that they've kind of backed themselves into is that, and they've discussed for years kind of how they're trying to get away from it, but basically you want a reload perk that makes you reload faster, or a perk that makes you that auto reloads, or you don't have to reload as often. And then you want a damage perk. And that's pretty well, and the easier it is to proc that damage perk, the better, like the more it's going to be used. And it's really hard for me to break away from that mindset. As somebody that doesn't play much Crucible, I don't know if I've played a single Crucible match this season, to be completely 100% honest. I don't care about, in PvE, it's easy enough to shoot stuff in the head. You're shooting like a computer, like an AI. Unless it just has like a small crit box or inconsistent crit spot, like I'm thinking of like the Garden of Salvation, like the Sanctified Mind or something like that there. Those are really, and those we can kind of fix with Divinity if it's too big of a deal. So I'm looking for reload and damage. I'm not looking for increase my aim assist or auto aim, like those type of things. I'm not looking for those. So speaking of that, target lock, damage perk, they say it's had its time in the sun, but it's time to go. So not only is it good for PvE, I think of the Void machine gun that came the final season of last year. Yeah, sorry.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm talking about. It's not It's not the commemoration. It's the. Anyways, that gun you could get target lock on, and it was like a DPS monster there for a bit. But it's also the retrofit monster. Yeah, retrofit escapade. It's also super good for PvP. So they have reduced the maximum damage it can grant in PvP. They still leave it unchanged in PvE, but it seems like it's not quite as good as it was previously. So the versus players, they reduced it from 40 to 25%. They say in season 22, the future, we have a substantial shakeup coming to the weapons sandbox in form of Zoom. We'll have more details to share closer to the release. But at a high level, the initial changes are going to enforce something they're calling range compression. Range compression has two main goals. Reduce the variance between the optimal engagement ranges of our mid-range weapons, auto rifles, pulse rifles, and hand cannons, and slightly reduce the average engagement range in Crucible by pulling the maximum damage fall-off distances of many weapon types. It's going to be interesting because I'm not sure, like 1 point on the Zoom stat would take a submachine gun from good to top of class. And so decoupling those things, it's going to be interesting. I think it could be, I'm afraid it's too little too late. But I hope it puts it in a good spot going forward.
Yeah, it's definitely a change that needed to be done in PvP specifically. The sheer oppression that was done that weekend that Strand SMG came out with it was
Immortal.
It was unreal watching how many immortal kills happened, because we went in there obviously because we wanted to get it. I know both of them got it, and I sat with myself and I said, do I really want to do this to myself? No, I'm good. So I didn't. But it was like if both or all three players on the other team by the end of the weekend had it and were just murdering you, and I'm like, you already have the gun, go away. Let someone else get it, man. But it's good to see that they're doing that. And again, PvP only change. So PvE stuff, retrofit isn't hit in PvE. So it's still going to be something that shreds through stuff with a div bubble, and it's going to be good. So moving from there, they talked a little bit about the future. They said in season 22, they're going to be a substantial shakeup coming to Weapons Sandbox in the form of Zoom. So they'll have more details to share closer to the release. They also tell us that glaives are getting a big change in 23. And then they also have a chart that shows Zoom stats changes and stuff like that. And I'm not going to talk about it here. If you want to look at a chart, You can look at it. It's definitely very interesting to look at, but it's literally just names and numbers. And that does not make for a fun talk for us to talk about just literally just a chart of numbers.
Unless we're talking about
But if you're
the FAFO chart. If you're a seven, if you're a 7 year, it comes or
but
the
oh man,
hot
yeah,
crazy chart. Another
that's
another
the
good
one, hot
chart.
crazy scale. But and with that, we're moving into the twid here. One of my newest, most favoritist words ever, acronyms. Um, First of all, they want to talk about Bungie Week. It's starting up. Technically, already started up on Tuesday. This is Bungie Week because Bungie Day is tomorrow, so it starts up. But they got in celebration. They have double all rep. So Vanguard, Gambit, Crucible. I've been grinding out some Gambit so I can stop playing it. I just finished the seal literally 40 minutes ago, so I got that done, and now I'm like, do I really want that ornament? I'll decide that later.
Hold on, you got
But
the
I'm gonna
silver.
switch to
You got
Vanguard.
the silver what now?
Gambit.
Oh, like the okay,
Yeah. I got the gilding done on Gambit.
gotcha.
So
I haven't played it. I haven't played a single match yet. I haven't played
yeah,
it.
no, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. Give that.
I'm
up.
holding out,
Give it
man.
up.
Holding out.
I haven't re-gilded or not gilded it. The minute I give up a gilding in a season, it's over for the rest of time. But I'm sticking to it, and I'm keeping it. I got all the numbers on my dredging. But moving on to Vanguard after that. After this podcast, I'm gonna start doing strikes, and then once I hit a 5 stack, I'm gonna move on to just hitting the GM or not the GM, but just the Nightfall over and over again for a long time.
That sounds fun.
There's also double rewards too, so it's just a bunch of drops. But I'm just gonna sit here, watch some YouTube or some Netflix or whatever, and chill.
What you been watching? What you been watching on there lately?
I just finished Comey Can't Communicate. Excellent show, very funny. It's one of those Japanese cartoons. But it's very good. It's a heartwarming like high school story. But it was funny, very funny, very cute.
I watched.
Yeah.
I watched The Bear on FX Hulu. Hulu FX. It's like a restaurant show, like a drama. It's got the dude that played Lip from Shameless. If you ever watched that, he's the main character. Super good. Highly recommend. I was telling Tiffany, I was like, you need to watch this show. It's very good. It's going to end up like being really popular, probably next season or the season after. I think it's going to end up being a really big show. So I watched, I think there's 8 episodes in season 1 and maybe 10 episodes in season 2. And I watched them all in probably 3 sittings or before sittings, I think. But I was also playing Final Fantasy on like Final Fantasy 1 on the other monitor. So I kind of had a dual, but very good. Highly recommend. Sorry, this is a Destiny podcast, but if you're looking for something while you're grinding, while you're getting this double fish XP and all that, and then we got our fish derby coming up as well. Which how does that? Is it the winner is just going to be the person that gets lucky and doesn't get public events? Is that how that's going to work?
I don't know, man. I looked into it and I'm done fishing because I caught that exotic for us and I'm not doing it anymore. I have one seasonal challenge that's like you need one more heavy fish to get the seasonal challenge, and I'm like, I don't know if I care enough to get that done. But yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the fishing derby. I'm so fished out after these 3 weeks of having to catch those exotics.
Yeah.
But
last week about killed me.
Oh, it was bad. Last week was the one that got me. The first week it wasn't bad, but the last week got me bad.
Yeah.
Now they talk about the cutscene. They're putting that up on YouTube. You're going to be able to access it in game after this year, no matter what. So you'll be able to watch it. Very important. And then they bring up obviously what we just talked about, so we can skip that. But now they're talking about Banana. Iron Banana is coming back next week with Zone Control. So if you want to play some Iron Banner, it's back again. I'm not sure. I think that's the second one, right? So we still got one more after that.
I'm pretty confident.
There's 3 per season, so I'm pretty confident that's the case as well. But yeah, so the second one's coming in. It's coming in next week, coming in hot, right after a XP for everybody week. And then they also revealed the exotic fish pins, which actually got me kind of tempted because the exotic fish are super dope. They look really cool. So that pin set looks really nice, and it has there's one that's the hook. So I'm like, okay, that might be interesting. And then they also reveal that the Witherhoard ornament voting is happening tomorrow, starting tomorrow. So get ready to look through your emails and stuff. They give you kind of a teaser of the 3 different ones. It looks like one of them was based on this season with the deep. It's got that whole glowing plants and stuff like that. And then the other 2 I can't really place very much, so I'm excited to see what their whole look is. Second one the third one might be Dreaming City related, but I can't really tell based on myself. So I'm excited to see what they all 3 of them look like whole. Because as of right now, from just what I can see, I don't know which one's the coolest yet. I mean, the glowing plants is pretty dope, but we'll see once we get the whole picture.
I think I'm missing one or two glowy plants. I'm gonna have to have you show me where they are. I think they're in the final section, I think.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do a regular deep dive and then the exotic quest.
Yeah, because
it happens after you turn into the quest. So yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
You got to do stuff for the catalyst too, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that, but we'll get there. We'll talk about it once we talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's it for the TWID. They go into movies of the week if you want to watch that. There is some cool artwork that was drawn up and put on there, so that was pretty neat if you want to look at that. But that's it for the TWID. Moving into 3 likes and dislikes.
And by 3 likes and dislikes, we mean 2 likes and dislikes.
Oh, I forget.
Thoughts and prayers.
Man down.
Thoughts and prayers for Jared. My like has been I enjoyed the difficulty of the Grandmaster last week. I had fun. I wish that schedules would have aligned a little better for everybody, myself included. I had like 4th of July fireworks stuff coming, and Jared had vacation, which kind of cut some weekend time out, and it's just but looking forward to just get back in there. Should be a good time.
Yeah, I was talking to my coworker about it, and he said, dude, it's just as hard as you said it was going to be. But they didn't have one night to do it. They had the whole week. So they had a good amount of time to really dig into it, and so they beat it twice. They got some good runs in, and they were asking me what we were trying, and they're like, oh, that's better than what we did. We were just, by the end of it, they're just running around like chickens with heads cut off, just trying to survive and getting it, because they crossed the timer where it takes your lives away. So they're like, oh no.
What in the world are they doing?
I don't know, man, but it was like, it's a rough one, dude. So no, you go in there, get ready to be sweaty. Like get that deodorant, just rub it all over your entire body. It's gonna be it's gonna be bad, and I'm here for it. As much as I like complain that it's gonna be rough, it always feels really good beating something really tough, especially when you're playing with the boys and finally getting it done, and you're like, yes, and it feels great. But my like for this week is the IRL hangout with Mr. Jared and Mrs. Jared. It was a really good time. We went to a fancy schmancy Mexican food place, hung out. We also hung out with Raider Fred from our D1 crew for the last 2 raids, our day 1 last 2 raids. So it was the 4 of us hanging out, having some tacos, chips, nachos, and just having a good old time. It was a couple hours, and it was cool. It was cool. He's the camera definitely doesn't do him justice. He's a little bit bigger than I expected. And he was just telling me that Ryan is a little bit bigger than I should expect as well. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I'm ready for that, man. Two big country boys. I don't know, man.
I really enjoyed the picture. So Mrs. Jared sent me like a picture, and I was like, I saw Jared, I saw Chad, and there was somebody standing in the back, and I was like, hey, is that Fred? And she's like, yeah, it's Fred. And I was like, ask Chad and Fred if they get their hair cut at the same place. And it turns out that they do because they have almost the exact same haircut in that picture, which I really
A
enjoyed.
little different, a little different. But yeah, no. I turned Fred onto my barber when he moved from North San Diego into San Diego. Because he's like, I'm not driving an hour to go to my barber up there. So he's like, I got to switch.
No,
So, and this was maybe 4 years ago. And so I was like, yeah,
an
no, my barber's
hour.
right here, dude. Right. Yeah. He used to drive an hour to work every day, like into work and then another
Sheesh.
hour back out. And with traffic, it ended up being like two. So they would like just eat at a restaurant and then skip the traffic. They're like,
Right.
okay, we're
Oh,
done with work. We're just gonna go eat and wait the traffic out. Um, but yeah, no. So yeah, we've been getting the same. Like he's been going to my barber for a while now.
yeah. So what exactly? Whenever you sit in the chair, what exactly do you? They say, what would you like? Like, what do you call that?
I think initially, since I've been seeing this guy for 7 years. So he's like, anything different? Nope. But it's for me, it's a high fade, a one. So one being the highest it gets. So skin fade, and it's called a pompadour, which is like
The Conan
a more
O'Brien cut.
subdued version of like yeah, yeah. I was gonna say the grease haircut, like the grease lightning haircut. Um, but yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah.
But the my dislike for the week, moving on from fabulous hair, which you can't see because it's in a pony, is so far no IRL hangout with Mister Not Ryan Fox yet.
I
We
know.
were talking about it with Jared and Mrs. Jared, and she's like, well, I want to go to Vegas, so we could make it a Vegas trip, and I can go do something, and you guys can do whatever, and it'd be a fun time. And I'm like, yeah, you can't go to a city where Ryan wants to bring his kids because he'll have to drive. If it's if
Nah,
it's he'll have to drive
it's how
because
we
he
do it in
doesn't
the
want to make
Midwest.
people suffer on a plane.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not driving out to California. So and I'm
No.
like, yeah, I get it.
I
I
don't
get
even
it.
think I don't even think that they would let me in California. That would maybe be an issue.
Well, if you drive through Arizona, they're just gonna assume you're one of them, and that'll be fine.
Yeah. So Vegas, I'm always down for Vegas. The issue is going to be there's no way I'm getting to Vegas without my wife. Like, not like because like I'll be partying, but because she wants to go have fun too. So there's just gonna have to we're gonna have to get just you're gonna have to bring like 2 dates, Chad,
Oh, I'll bring
and
Fred.
yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Should be a good time. My dislike is pretty much fishing. I spent hours catching these exotic fish, and then get to the point to where comes up, and now only one person has to have all these fish, and I'm like, dude, that irritated me because feel like I got hoodwinked on that a little bit, but all right. Chad got it, so I don't have to get the one this week. So it could be worse.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'd known that before I did all my fishing, I wouldn't have done it either. But I did it. I cast 100 and something times, and I got it. So it was a good 5 hour start to my Tuesday.
Chad, I paused the Zencaster. So if you need to,
Oh, nice.
I know you. Yeah. So just do
Thank
this,
you.
and I got you, dog.
All right.
All right. Chad had like a little emergency come up there, so he will be right back. I'm just kind of looking. 27:26 is where we had a pause. I'm not sure how crappy this is going to make editing for me later, but if you have an emergency, you have an emergency. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Anything going on? Any questions? Have a few open spots here on the mailbag. I've done a poor job of keeping up with everything this week, to be if we're being honest. I will say, uh, I believe since last Thursday or Friday, so about the past week, I fully completed Final Fantasy One, the Pixel remaster, as it came out on Steam. It's been out on Steam for like a year, but I finally got to a point to where I'm not playing Destiny every evening. Just don't have a lot to do. But got on that. Final Fantasy's always been a love of mine ever since I've been in middle school. Pretty much the first time I remember one of my homies showed up one day at middle school, and he had the Final Fantasy VII strategy guide. And I was always once I saw that, and he kind of told me like what the game was about, and I think it was like his older brother that was playing it, and he like snatched the strategy guide out, brought it over, and I was like, dude, I have to play this game. This might be the coolest game that's ever existed. So I've been playing. I've been playing since 7. I played 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2. Beat all those. Beat a little, played a little bit of 12, a little bit of 13. Beat all of 15. I don't have a PS5 to play 16. So decided I was going to go back and play through these Pixel remasters. So Final Fantasy 1, absolutely adored it. Enjoyed it very, very much as far as that goes. So I am looking forward. I already have Final Fantasy 4, which is technically, if you're going back by the old days, it's actually Final Fantasy 2 in the Americas. It was Final Fantasy 4 in Japan. They kind of had some weird numbering stuff going on. So that is what I have lined up to play next. So gonna get this Destiny stuff kind of wrapped up, and then that's gonna be the next little side game that I'm going through. Thought about streaming it maybe on Twitch as opposed to the YouTube here. So if you're interested at all, just keep an eye out there. I think it's Conqueror's Corner is the Twitch thing as well. If you just type Conqueror's Corner, you're going to find us pretty well anywhere that we are. So that is kind of the plan from here. So typically the way I play through Final Fantasy games is I will find a strategy guide that just shows like if there's anything missable for like achievements or like key items, just tells me like, hey, before you leave this dungeon or whatever, make sure you grab this key item. So not necessarily like playing it as like turn left here, turn right here. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything and have to backtrack. So just to get like the kind of full experience out of it. And I usually try to do the secret bosses and all the in-game stuff as well. So so far this year, I've beat 7 Remake. I beat the Yuffie DLC with 7 Remake and Final Fantasy 1. So put a little dent in there. I did beat Final Fantasy 8, the remaster, whenever it came out. Man, it came out on Xbox. It's probably been 3 years ago since I played that. But got all that. That's probably very unpopular opinion. 8's my favorite of the franchise. So that's the one that I know the best and I can play through. And you can basically break that game pretty early if you know what you're doing and just do like low level runs and those type of things. But it's fun. I enjoy it. So if you enjoy that, just keep an eye out. And I might try to tweet that from my personal account at Not Ryan Fox on Twitter. So if you're interested, that's where it'll be. I will say my homie, cousin Cody, big Final Fantasy guy, my brother-in-law, Dark Haze, shout out to him, another big Final Fantasy guy. And he plays a lot of RPGs and even plays some MMOs and things. So he's usually got a pretty good idea of what's good, what's not good. So those are my two IRL people that we like to do that with. I like to talk games with, RPG wise. I'm not gonna lie, kind of been looking here. I'm really liking Chad's, like his boom arm that he has. Pretty big fan of that. How it has like that piece that drops down, kind of looks like it's adjustable. You can drop it perpendicular from the bar. Pretty rad. Kind of looking, maybe get me a new desk here soon. But I'm trying to decide if I want to do a corner desk or if I want to just get a wall mount. So right now I have a curved 32 monitor and a flat 32 monitor. And what the issue I'm having, I don't want to have, I think I need to get another curved monitor. And then like I need to buy the same monitor again. And either I don't know if I want to stack those like one here and then one above it and then turn the flat monitor vertical beside it. I haven't decided if I want to do that or do like a full, like the two curved monitors here and then the flat above it. I haven't decided. So any suggestions, just hit us up.
I mean, I technically have both of those setups.
I know, but I don't want the bezel in, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so like it's, I haven't decided.
Yeah. It's
what would be the best way.
See, that's why I just went with an ultra wide because there's no bezel.
Yeah. And I wish it's just as bad as I want one, man. It's hard to drop $1,000 on myself for a monitor whenever like I don't technically need a monitor, you know?
Yeah. So, I said this is for little Gabriel. He don't exist because I have this monitor.
Listen, I might have just absolutely F myself when it comes to editing. I have no idea. But I'm going to resume this.
Save my life.
I'm going to I've been there. I understand. I'm going to resume this and then I'm going to introduce us to lore and then you can take it over from there. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. I think that takes us right into the lore section. So, Chad, what do you got for us this week, buddy?
Yeah. So this week we are finishing off the book Purpose. We did the three chapters last week. We're finishing off the next three. So we're moving into chapter 4, Tether. Eris let her eyes wander over the interior of the derelict, wondering if the drifter had hastily tidied up before her arrival. Unprecedented, but he could still surprise her. They sat together as they always did when she came to speak to him face to face. Drifter sighed and shook his head, flicking his coin absently between his fingers. Sloane's in a bad way, he said. Eris nodded. And you believe my speaking to her will be beneficial? She replied. Drifter shrugged. Helped a few people already, didn't it? Eris considered this. It should be you, she finally answered. Drifter laughed at this, but fell silent when her expression remained unchanged. Me? Why would she trust me? Trust is built, Drifter, Eris said, and you have taken the first step. He was pensive. The movement of the coin over his knuckles stopped. She continued. I have found, she said, her words measured, that one is grounded by honesty, not only in oneself, but with those around you. He heaved a slow, hard breath. I don't know if I can. Yes, honesty is a supplication, Eris said. We ask to be seen. We are made vulnerable. but it is necessary to be treated with care. Her explanation was met with one of rasping knuckles. Drifter leaned back in his seat, arms crossed. He held his coin tightly between thumb and forefinger. You always make something so easy sound so freaky, Moondust. Tell her what you told me, she said more simply. The deputy commander's trust will not come without reciprocity. Drifter felt quiet, looking down. She could hear his breath and see the strange shiver of his fingers where he clutched the coin. Eris reached out and placed a hand on his arm. He was tense, trembling, but her touch was light, quiet, comforting. He placed his hand over her own. You know, some days I still wake up scared, even when I can't remember my dreams. That is what it is to survive. There was a gentleness to Eris's voice. He nodded, then looked up and met her gaze. Hey, Drifter said, you find that joy yet? Soon. Joy is built, but I have taken the first step. Drifter withdrew his hand. After a moment, she did too. Eris stood, and Drifter's eyes followed her. Consider my counsel, Germain. She knew he would. Drifter let the silence linger. That's not my name, he said at last. That is what you let them call you. It was a small link to his past, a link to a life he had picked for himself. He nodded slowly, holding her gaze. He would let her call him that too. Chapter 5, Expectation. I don't know what I expected. Zavala sets down a datapad on his desk, watching Ikora pace back and forth across his office. I don't know, he sighs. Maybe we should have. Ikora stops pacing. She turns to look at Zavala with an accusatory stare. Every single enemy we've fought was brought here by the Traveler, Zavala says, slouching back into his chair. The Hive, the Fallen, the worst of the Cabal. His attention drifts down to the datapad. Sloane's report on the origins of the Witness. What's one more group of people chasing it? This isn't the Traveler's fault, Ikora says, doubling back on Zavala's desk. You read the same report I did. We are at war with an entire civilization condensed into an individual. Multitudes of resentment and hatred crushed into a singularity. Resentment towards the Traveler. Zavala grumbles. I'm not saying the Traveler's at fault. I'm saying it's a harbinger of ill omen. Everywhere it's gone, nothing but death has followed. Does it realize that? Does it care? Ikora approaches Zavala's desk. Does it matter? She challenges him. It is obviously outgunned and running. For all the Traveler's strength, the Witness is the greater power. It came to us to uplift us. It came to us for help. Zavala is silent. He looks up from the datapad at Ikora, then sighs and slowly rises from his seat. Ikora follows him with her eyes, watching him move to the window where he would gaze out at the Traveler in the past. Now a fleet of allied vessels struggle to fill that void. Were they really that unified? Zavala asks, looking at Ikora's faint reflection. Who? The Witness's people. Zavala stares past Ikora's reflection into the city. Were they truly of one mind, united in a desire to become this thing? Or were they forced, compelled into action by the guidance of a few? She can feel the doubt in his words, not in his wonderings about the Witness's origins, but in the vanguard, and what he sees as a parallel. Ikora steps to Zavala's side, briefly touching his elbow. We'd never become that, she says softly. Not in all of Elsie's journeys through time, not in any hypothetical future. We stand together because we believe what we are doing is right. Zavala interjects, looking Ikora in the eye. She sighs, turning to face the window. Her shoulders sag and she's lost in the details of the cityscape. I don't know what I expected either, Zavala says, but you're right. It wasn't this. Chapter 6, Conviction. Xivu Arath's claw wraps around a hiltless, slender, vantablack blade impaled into the spine of a prostrated knight, whose own sword clatters to the ground, inches from its grip, defeated. She twists her blade, and the knight roars echo within the dreadnought. Xivu's will soars through the ascendant plane and crosses the barrier between this world and the next to find communion with the witness. Within a distant hollow, they converse. They resist. The witness's many voices cascade over each other. Like wounded prey, all tire in time. If they do not, Zivaroth sees the hidden thrust of its question. She knows it doubts her, but does not understand why. No matter the outcome, they stand at the precipice of the final shape. The sword will decide and be forged stronger for it. It is beyond that now. She does not want to fall before the end. She is close now. She saw her past failures as blood penance paid for strength, notches where blades and light met her carapace where legends given form. But it is not hers to decide, nor the witnesses. The logic is a perfect deterministic sequence of causality, built into the experience of conscious existence. None can usurp it. Struggle within the finite is eternal. To deny the blade is heresy. Her sister's words played in her thoughts like fingertips plucking dissonant chords. The witness enters the solace of Zivu's mind. Her inner throne, a salt-flat sliver extending eternally into darkness. Armaments of all-fashioned sleep partially sheathed between the cracks of a battlefield where there is no place to run. And from its gaze there is no place to run. They hold the worm. They will pursue her knowledge. The words echo through the desolate realm. The final shape remains to be hewn. That I may wield it glorious against the sky. Not as you are, weakened by defeat. The echoes slither over her mind, but find little purchase. Laughter like screaming fear. Meager victories of no consequence. Blurred battles lost within my greater war. No victory is of no consequence. They scheme. War is fed regardless. The sky can grant no passage. That time will soon come to an end. Show her your love, Zero. She is alone again, her blade buried in spent ash. So we're seeing a little bit more shipping of Drifter and Eris. This one is they get a little touchy-feely, which is good to see. So they're getting real close there, or they already were, and now we're getting a little bit more insight into it. Zavala is obviously being a leader, and he's seeing too many parallels in the witnesses' people and what happened to them. And he doesn't like it. He doesn't like that he can make that connection. But I can see his struggle, because it is a tough one.
Pretty exciting stuff there, man. So have you put much thought into like this, because this was the last part of the lore for this book, right?
Yes, it is that's the last bit of that book. And there isn't another lore book. So the lore for this season is basically just that lore book and the cutscenes you get in the season. And obviously little snippets here and there, not including the dungeon, because the dungeon stuff is added content, not additional to the season. It's separate, although it all plays together. But it leads to a lot of questions on what we're going to do in the future as a peoples. Zavala bringing up those parallels with and those ideas, like, did literally all of the witnesses people, all of them agreed that this is what they wanted to do? Or did they force people to do it? Because did the minority force everyone else to become the witness? He's starting to see that. He's like, I don't want to make decisions for humanity and become this thing. So it's rough. He's as a leader, he's gonna be hit by a lot of really, really tough questions. And I got no answers for you, man. I am just as scared as you are, bro. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But seeing that Eris Germain content, it's fire, dog. I'm loving it. The Drifter. I think the Drifter has had such good character growth this season, and he's just existed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the stuff he's done this season has been in the background.
Yeah. The only criticism I have, and I feel like with the Drifter, they try to keep like a secrecy type, mysterious thing with him, as a lot of times they kind of do this cheap storytelling thing, that where he'll like start to tell a story and go like, oh, never mind, now's not the time to talk about that, or you know what I mean. He'll kind of like give you like the first sentence or two of a story and then like back off of it and not tell it. And I wish they wouldn't do that all the time. I feel like it happens just a little too often. But let's be honest, their character development and stories are way cooler than anything that I could ever come up with. So who am I to judge them on their storytelling abilities? So I'm just a old country boy here in Kentucky that watches a lot of TV and reads a lot of stories. So what do I know? Saying that, I think we're at the mailbag. So pretty swift episode this week, unless I get windy here. This part should be. I really like this question. I wish Jared was here to throw his thing in. So Chad, we'll rank these together. Okay. Rank the planetary vendors, and here's who they have. They have Sloan, Failsafe, Asher Mir, Brother Vance, Anna Bray, Shaw Han, Devram K, Finch, Eris, and Petra. So Shaw Han's the worst, right?
Oh man. For us, yes, I believe he is the worst for us in particular.
Because if you're if you are an established player, you really don't have any interaction with him or anything like that. And the Destiny onboarding process is trash. So we're going to call him for that as well.
Yeah.
I feel like as far as story, I feel like Brother Vance, shout out Wesley here. Of course, Jared says Asher Mir is number one. That's a strong disagree for me. I think that so we kind of have two robots. We got Failsafe, who's an AI. We have Finch, who's a ghost. I feel like Finch is greater than Failsafe. Failsafe kind of wore on me pretty quickly in vanilla D2, so I would have Failsafe second to last.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, based on what Wesley's saying, we are missing a couple, and they're the smaller ones. Nimbus is still new, so I don't think we have much of a.
We need to add Nimbus.
We'll
add Nimbus in here. But, Nimbus is number one.
There's more in there that we don't have, like the Callus robot that was in the tower. He was technically a vendor. Then there's Rasputin.
You're talking about Sweeperbot?
Also a vendor. Yeah, Sweeperbot. The Callus bot.
I wonder what Wesley thinks of Sweeperbot. That's
and then the Rasputin in the last season of last year was a vendor. But do we want, because
I'm not counting them.
He isn't like the war table where he was an animate object. He was an actual person being a vendor. But
fine. We'll put him in here. In here. That's fine. Nimbus to goat. I agree with Wesley. So, who's your number one? Your number one's Rasputin, probably. Or no, you like Anna Bray. You like Anastasia Bray.
Hey, man. I mean, Ada 1 is my number one vendor all day, every day. But she's useless, so I'm not putting her on this list because she'll just go on the bottom or near the bottom, and it would make me sad. Oh man, it'd be tough because Rasputin was great. You could just sit there and talk to him and listen to all the lore and stuff. But Asher was fun only in that he talked to mad junk at you the entire time. So it was fun to just sit there and get berated.
All right. So who's number one? Who do you say is number one?
Sheesh. I'm gonna go Anna Bray. I loved Mars, and she gave you an exotic. She gave you exotic stuff. So.
All right. So we got Anna Bray off the list.
Oh gosh, there's so many vendors.
We have We have Shahan is gone. All right. So overall, let's just say top half, bottom half. We'll go through these quickly. Would you say Sloan, top half or bottom half?
I feel like I'm gonna get hit by nostalgia, so I'm gonna say bottom half.
Okay, I'm there with you. I think Sloan's kind of trash, if we're being honest. So failsafe is bottom half for me.
Okay. Yeah. It did get annoying after
Yeah, after that initial, because I think what made it annoying was we had that dummy Cade 6 and failsafe both trying to be the comic relief, because if you remember, Cade was like trapped on the planet or whatever, and then you got failsafe kind of trapped on the planet as well. So I think it's just double trash between Cade and failsafe. So I really did not enjoy that too much. Asher, I think Asher is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think Asher would be either would be like the lower part of the upper half or the higher part of the lower half.
I will agree with you in particular on this one.
Okay.
I agree with Mr. Not Ryan.
Suck it, Jared. And then Brother Vance, you have to say, if nothing else, he's loyal. You know what I mean? He is loyal to Osiris. So
and Osiris doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah. He is like like he puts lotions in baskets. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel whenever I think Brother Vance. Like he is he would be like the leader of like the Westboro Baptist Church. Like he stands strong for what he believes in.
He's
and
in the back mixing up the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, just out of pure dedication, I'm putting Brother Vance in the upper half. How you feel about that?
Ooh. I mean, he did give us a beefy shotgun.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I'm not saying he's in the top 2 or 3. I'm just saying he's in the upper half.
Definitely not. Okay, upper half for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was also the trials vendor in D1.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of good stuff going for him.
He had his little rug out in front of him and stuff. Devram, upper half, no question, my opinion.
Devram
he's just sniping. He's standing in a church sniping bad guys, like
constantly.
Yeah.
And he's a better shot than an awoken hunter who lived for a very long time.
Yeah. Then we got Finch. I think Finch is somewhere near the middle, personally.
Yeah, going back to him, yeah, he was kind of annoying on the third playthrough of the story after you're being forced to do it. But going back here and there he is definitely a good character.
Petra, upper half.
Yeah. The whole story makes me sad.
Yeah. Eris in the middle.
Yeah, Eris middle.
Okay. Nimbus.
Sorry, Jermaine.
In my opinion, Nimbus is number 1 or 2.
Ooh, okay. You like old Nimby, huh?
I think Nimby's cool. I think Sweeperbot's cool, Rasputin's cool, and Anna Bray. That's my top 4. Devram with 5.
Okay.
Big yikes we're getting from the chat.
Little yikes. A little bit yikes. Nimby kind of messed with me for the last season and a half trying to get those red borders, dog.
Nimby looks cool though. He has like 7 voices cool stacked AF, on top of each other, so he kind of echoes whenever he talks. That's pretty cool.
But I ended up spending my harmonic things on the Neomuna weapons, so I didn't ever have to go back.
It was pretty cool. Sweeperbot when it was revealed, Sweeperbot was like a callous spy. And
the one in the bottom below Hawthorne.
Yeah. So that and Rasputin, always cool. So I'm thinking. Let me put it this
I
way.
think Rasputin's been a vendor technically twice now.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna count it as one vendor. So I'm thinking we got Anna Bray. Type these in for me, and then we can. So we got Anna Bray. We got Sweeperbot. We got Rasputin. And then Nimbus. Devram K. Petra. Finch. Eris. Asher. Failsafe. Sloan. Shahan. Okay, so the only one I missed out of that was quickly going through Petra, Eris, Asher. Okay, I think that's got them all right.
Oh no, where did we put Vance after Petra?
Vance above Petra, below Devram, I think.
Okay.
So looking at that list, our list: Anna Bray, Sweeperbot, Rasputin, Nimbus, Devram, Brother Vance, Petra, Finch, Eris, Asher Mir, Failsafe, Sloan, Shahan. Any major complaints on that, or any that you would swap around?
No, I can agree with it. I can agree with this list for sure.
All right, I'm gonna post that in the chat here.
Call it a day. Tell them what's what.
I tried to post it in the chat.
Is it just too big?
I don't know. That's what she said, I think, but I don't know about that. So if I'll let you copy and paste that in the chat, chatto, and we'll go from there. So that's that wasn't as contentious. I feel like there we go, baby. I feel like if Jared was here, Asher. Jared says the Stranger is a tier 1 vendor.
When was spelled vendor wrong?
Yeah. All and void, sir. So, when was the Stranger?
She still is. She's technically on the ice Europa. But she makes me mad because she was the one that we had to go to for stasis.
No, that doesn't count. On the vent there, that. What was
Oh, it was
we forgot to add yeah. What was what happened Barracks,
there's
right?
Too many vendors.
Barracks?
Yeah.
We didn't have Barracks on here, did we?
No, there's too many vendors, man.
Oh my god,
there's so much stuff we missed.
I was just trying to okay. I was just trying to skip Zur, but we got to get Barracks in there. Where'd Barracks go? Barracks has a lot of arms, so that's gonna put him up. Is Barracks between brother?
He has 2 real ones and 1 robot one.
I feel like Barracks would be between Brother Vance and Petra.
Okay, yeah. He's helped me a lot on my XP gains for sure. So,
yeah, I will say I hate his effing bounties with doing those hunts or whatever when you have to kill
Bug
like a certain...
chittering is what it was.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
It's hard. I have a noise. I have like a gate on my mic, so it's hard for me.
Yeah, I know. Mine canceled mine too, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, finally, moving on to the second question of the mailbag.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my bad.
No problem at all. How many hours of fishing did it take before you started to dislike it?
Less one. 90
I think
minutes.
it took me about an hour of not fishing with the buddies to dislike it. But then I'm like, you know what? I can sit here and fish and like read or watch a show, because I can just sit here and like hit a button, and as I'm reading, you can see the screen like flicker because the line gets taut, and then you can just hit the button and then throw it out.
It also flashes up like press your mouse button or E or however you have that set up.
Yeah. Well,
Or
like,
wait, for you it probably says X, for your controller.
Yeah, on that controller, yes. But I mean, yeah, it's easy. But after about an hour, I'm like, I could just be reading instead of doing this. This is not good. If I'm not fishing with the homie, this is not fun.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I realized pretty much the first time I did it, like, oh, I am not gonna enjoy this very much after this time. So, but
instead of doing this,
that's how it goes sometimes. There are times that I'm just not really feeling it, but that's how it goes. It's okay. Not everything's for everybody. So I'm sure there are some people that think fishing is the most fun thing that there is, but I am not one of those people, unfortunately. All right, question 3. What is your confidence? How high is your confidence in Bungie maintaining 3 games? Destiny, Marathon, and Matter. Oh, I don't know. Pretty well about a 0 right now, if we're being honest. I don't think they're struggling to do 1 game and then 2 in production stage. There's probably always going to be at least 1 game, if not a game and a half, that's in like full production, not released, but full production. And then always the seasonal content and all the other games tucked along with that. So I don't think that I just don't think they can do it. They haven't been able to maintain Destiny for about the last 2 years, which probably lines up with the production cycle of Marathon and pre-production of Matter, or vice versa, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm a little bit more confident than Ryan. I'm gonna be a solid 2, assuming that this is out of 100.
Oh, sheesh. I was thinking out of 10.
But yeah, no, I it's rough because we don't know how much work the production game, before the game even launches. How much harder is it working on a game before it launches than keeping it live and working on content? Does it take if you have a full team of 100%, once the game gets produced and is maintained, then you can drop that team down to 70, and then the other 30% is just working on story stuff, like the future stuff,
like the seasonal stuff, kind of.
Yeah. How much manpower does it take to make the game versus maintain the game? So I mean, because once all 3 games are fully out and running, will that lessen the workload on the studio, or will it, what will it do? Because by the time Matter comes out, Destiny's just going to be a running live game. They might have things put in here and there, but I think by that time it's just going to be, here's Destiny, here's all the stuff. Play it, have fun. And then here's Marathon if you want to play PvP, and then Matter. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we don't know.
Ryan and I are sad, but it's better to be sad and surprised than excited and disappointed.
Yeah. So they did, just very briefly, we have the Microsoft versus the FTC going on right now, where Microsoft's trying to acquire Activision Blizzard, sorry. And in that, a bunch of emails have kind of came out and everything, and there was an email. Phil Spencer, who's the head of Xbox, basically said that they expect in 2025 for Matter to be released, which is a new Bungie IP. So keep your eyes out for that. I was trying to think the next real big video game thing. They have the Gamescom that they do like over in like Germany or somewhere, but usually Bungie has a presence at the Game Awards, which is in December. So I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe get a little something in December. Kind of because the marathon people already said that they're keeping their head down and we won't see anything for a while. That's kind of how they ended that. So, and if you go to Bungie.net right now, if you notice, there's a Destiny part and a marathon part, right? And I have a feeling they wouldn't have done that for only 2 games. But if there's 3 games that they're getting ready to have on there, that would be a reason to have a web page to kind of click into what you want to do. So I fully expect if I had to bet like gun to my head, I'm gonna say Video Game Awards, which is usually like mid-December. We're gonna get that Matter announcement, and there's gonna be that third part of the Bungie website that's gonna be on. And I think that a lot of the community managers that we had before, because they kind of had an influx here in the past year. We've had Bruno, we've had Sam, we've had the Dirty F and Hippie. We've had, I think there's been one more that have all kind of given us some twabs here lately. And I think that the more experienced people might be moving over to those other games to help build the community for those.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Right, going to question 4 here. Did you ever imagine the Corrupted would be one of the easier GMs of the season?
Nope.
I mean, once I looked at the gilding and I saw the PsyOps Battleground Moon, I was like, oh no, that's easily gonna be the hardest one. If only because we haven't done it before as a GM, and the first time is always the hardest for Destiny content, as far as we're aware. It's always the worst, and it's gonna be tough. But looking at the whole rest of the lineup, I'm like, wow, it's a bunch of bangers, man. It's gonna be a rough season. So seeing Corrupted, we're like, we've done that one a bunch now. So it's like, okay, this is gonna be one of the ones we can more likely are able to go on autopilot a couple times and just kind of clear rooms and focus up where we need to, instead of like we were doing PsyOps Battleground on Saturday night, no, Friday, Sunday night.
Sunday night.
And we were in the game the entire time, and we didn't clear it in the time frame that we had. But just looking at Corrupted and being like, wow, didn't think you'd be on the easy side of the 6. So
didn't think you would be in the easy half. We did have a chat here from Wesley. The only thing is that Bungie has 1 live game funding 3, where if the new game comes out or is successful, they can increase the team size. My thought to that would be, this is back to the previous question. My thought with that would be, man, they just got $4 billion from Sony. I feel like if they wanted to hire, and if you check like Glassdoor and they've been hiring for a while. I think that's an easy cop out for him, because I think that they already pulled all the PvP people away from Destiny and have them working on this other game anyways. That's based upon just the lack of Crucible support. So they've already, even if we don't say 50%, if we're generous and say they pulled 35% of the Destiny team away to work on those games and already have those staffed up, then, I don't really have a lot of faith that just because they have more titles that are doing well, especially since Matter, and if you read like the insider and the leaks or the alleged leaks for those, it's also a PvP game. So we got Marathon, which is an extraction PvP game. Matter is also a PvP game. If I had to guess, it's probably either an arena style game or a hero based style game or a battle royale or some combination of two of the three of those would be my guess for Matter, just because those are kind of the hot topics. If you pull Extraction, because they're not going to have two Extraction games, right? That just, why would you cannibalize your own products that way? So I think that's kind of an easy pass to give them, but I don't think that that's a fair pass to give them. Last question of the mailbag. Oh, this should be a good. I wish Jared was here for this one to give us the advice on this. Just went through a breakup after dating for 18 months. Any advice? Huh. Chad, you want to start off? You want me to start off?
Man? Why me? You can start off if you want.
Start off. Okay. Before I met my now wife, I had some long dating relationships, maybe not quite 18 months, but some like 2 or 3 different long relationships, to where one of them we lived together. One of them, I've dated people that had children, or a child. I shouldn't say children, a child that before I met them. And so I've been in some serious relationships before I found my wife, which totally outkicked my coverage and did way better than I should have. So I'm very thankful for that. My wife is awesome. She's the best. So my advice, as somebody that's been through the heartbreak and everything, and hopefully don't have to ever go through that heartbreak again, is clean break. Don't try to be friends or anything like that. The best thing you're going to be able to do, you're going to break that off, do what you need to do. If you're living together or whatever, try to get a place by yourself. If you're not able to afford that, can you get a roommate? Do you need to move back in with mom and dad for a little bit? I don't know what your situation is. You didn't really tell me a whole lot of the situation here in the question, but my advice is do not talk to that person for at least a year, 2 years, 3 years. You need to be completely over it, or, don't get kind of on again, off again, on again, off again, because then you're never going to do it. So split up, realize that it's not going to work out no matter how much. If it was going to work out, it would have already worked out. Clean break, focus on you. Whether this be going to the gym, catching back up with your buddies. A lot of times whenever you're in a relationship, you kind of focus on that and you lose your friendships with your friends. So try to get with your friends. They're going to take you back. They might give you a little bit of shit along the way, like, oh man, haven't seen you in a while, what's been going on? But if they're really your friends, they're going to care about you. They're going to want what's best for you. Get back in, get with your friends, start doing fun stuff, and don't look for anything right now. Because when you're going to think like, oh, the best thing I can do is find somebody else to fill that pain in. No, just have fun. Just have fun. Don't worry about it. Because I promise, the harder you look and the more effort you put into it, the harder it's going to be. That stuff's going to come when you're least expecting it and not looking for it at all.
Oh yeah, that last bit, I haven't been expecting it for years, and it's right around the corner, I think, because I don't want it.
It's coming. Oh yeah. It's coming twice, hopefully.
Like Jared told me last night, you got to go out and do stuff if you want to run into somebody, and I'm like, nah. But I definitely do agree with Ryan's. Don't talk to them for a while. Don't think about it. Like, just do whatever you can to put them out of your mind, and help yourself progress forward, knowing that it's without them. Just do it, do what you need to do. And like you said, move in with mom and dad, move in with friends, whatever you can do if it's in a living situation like that. Nowadays, living with your parents is a totally 100% okay. Everybody understands that the economic situation at the moment. Now, everybody's relationship with their parents is different, but if you have a good relationship, I'm sure they'll be happy to have you back in the house for a little bit, depending on what's going on with you. And they'll help you out. They'll help you kind of take your mind off of things and bring you back to a time in your life when you weren't with that person. It's kind of, it's kind of good to be around parents for that, because they can bring you to a place where you were before everything else. But yeah, definitely, and get back with your friends. talk to them. The ones that you were hanging out with during, hang out with them again. The guys that you haven't talked to in a while, talk to them again. I'm sure everybody's waiting to hear from you. and the people that were there during, hit them up and be like, hey man, I need I need to get some stuff off my mind, and they'll help you out. They'll definitely help you out.
Yeah, there's definitely a thing like if one of my homies was like going through it, I'm not gonna give him any grief initially. I'm gonna wait until like we've hung out a few times and be like, man, it's kind of, I've seen you 3 times in the past month. I didn't see you for 16 months before that. Just kind of like just a little like a little ribbing and a wink. But your true homies aren't ever going to be like, tell me what happened. I've had friends that have been broke up from serious relationships for literally 2.5 years before I ever found out what happened, because I wasn't going to ask. I've always kind of been of the mindset, if they want me to know, they're going to tell me. I'm not going to ask them. They'll talk about it when they're ready. And any of the real ones out there, they're going to tell you the same thing. So
100% on that one.
Yeah. So just get that season pass rank up, come in, we get you like a season pass rank 225, 250. We don't want to get we don't want to get all the way to tree fitty. You know what I mean? Because we don't ever want to get to tree fitty. But and Conqueror's Corner podcast all day. So listen to us. We can fill up a lot of free time there for you. So Chad, I think that we've reached the end of the podcast. I'm sorry if you hear the train/siren or the train horn in the background. That's on my side, not on your side. So as always, follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend requests. Next week, we're going to have Jared back, who's I'm not going to, in case he's still listening or watching, I'm not going to call him the glue to the show, but Jared does a lot of the work for the podcast side. I do a lot of the editing. Chad does a lot of the work of getting stuff compiled, and Jared does Chad does the lore and all that stuff, and Jared does like the compiling of the TWID and all that. So we all kind of have our lanes, and Chad picked up a lot of Jared's part of it. So Chad, appreciate you, man. It's good seeing you. I'm gonna let you sign off.
Yeah, it's definitely was a cool time with Jared. Had some good food, had some good laughs, had a good time. Can't wait to make it a 3-way hug when we all get together, whether that be Vegas or me showing up on a Christmas Eve party. I hear that the Festivus, Mr. Not baby. Ryan Fox party is a good one.
The Festivus Christmas Eve party.
There might have been someone saying that you would lose your mind if I walked in the door with Jared.
Oh, dude, that'd be so rad.
I think my mom would also lose her mind if I went somewhere that wasn't her house.
Yeah.
But you know what it is. It's sometimes you got to be in Kentucky for a little bit.
That's right.
Definitely join up. We got raids we need to run, and raids we want to run people through, whether it's Last Wish or Ron and other stuff. But definitely hit us up.
As always, go Cats. Love you guys.